Hi there and welcome to the PonderingDan Podcast, where we talk all things teaching, education, pedagogy and technology. I'm your host Danny Summerall, and if you're new to the show, make sure you leave a review and share with your peers. Connect with me on Twitter, Instagram and YouTube at PonderingDan, as well as at PonderingDan.com. In 1994, Apple created the Apple Distinguished Educator program, or ADE for short, to recognise K-12 and higher education pioneers who are using Apple technology to transform teaching and learning. These are the educators who are looking to change the world. They're active leaders from around the world helping other educators rethink what's possible with Apple technology to make learning deeply personal for every student. I'm really lucky to have three amazing Apple Distinguished Educators with me today. Firstly, I have Steph Kriewaldt. Steph is a teacher from rural Victoria and the most recent award winner for the Digital Learning and Teaching Victoria Digital Educator of the Year Award. She became an ADE in 2015. And lastly, also from Adelaide, I have Kim Martin. Kim is an assistive technology specialist that supports students, teachers, support workers and families across South Australia. Kim is also on the Committee for Digital Learning and Teaching Victoria and has also been an ADE since 2015. So hi everyone and welcome to the PonderingDan Podcast.
Hi, g'day.
So I'm a relatively new ADE, being from the class of 2019, and I was very lucky, in my opinion, to have met all of you at the most recent ADE Asia Pacific event on the Gold Coast. I'm pretty excited to be speaking about the ADE program and learning a bit more about what that means to you. So we might start with Steph.
Sure.
What were the steps for you to become an ADE?
So I was working at a tiny school in the Clare Valley, and I was working with doing some coding, which was pretty cool for the time, pretty commonplace now. And some Apple people came up and had a look at my school and said, "Your school's pretty cool," and told me about the ADE program and invited me to apply. And I made a little video about my story and was successful. Okay. That was in 2015.
2015. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And what about you, Sal?
Well, I was teaching at Mark Oliphant College, which is a Category 1 school, so pretty low socioeconomic school. And it was a relatively new super school that had been built. So we had lots of people from Apple coming out all the time. And I was lucky enough to work under Dean Clark, who we miss very much, but I was lucky enough to work under him. And he actually said to me, "Sal, you're doing some great stuff. I'd really like you to apply to be an ADE." And I was kind of like, "Oh, what is that?" And then he actually went through the process himself, so he was there to support me with that process. So
yeah, good. And Kim, similar story for you, or?
Well, not at all. To be honest, I didn't know anybody that was an ADE in the community that I worked within and who I got to mingle with. So in 2013, I gave it a go and was unsuccessful. And in 2014, I got to become a Google Certified Innovator.
Okay.
And to be honest, I still really wanted that ADE title. So in
very prestigious.
So I think I would have been going till they just gave up and said, "All right, let her in." In 15, I tried again and was successful. So my first ADE event was in Singapore.
Same with me, Kim.
Yeah, that's the same as me. But I know I shouldn't be asking the questions, but how did you find out about it in 2013?
Because I really wanted to do it right back, I'm going to say in 2009. And then I thought I wasn't good enough, like that imposter syndrome.
So who did you hear about it from?
Was it Christine Haynes?
No, I'm an Apple geek, so I just knew it existed forever.
Oh,
yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah, I just found out in, the year prior to 2015. So, yeah.
So
Okay.
I found out about it from a friend who was also class of 2015, and it was only through her that I sort of, was aspiring to become an ADE. I thought it looked pretty good, and I was using all the Apple devices. So, similar to what you all did as well, we had to put together a little video and say what you've been doing in the classroom and how you're using Apple technology. And, I was lucky I got in first go, which I was really surprised at, considering I did my video very last minute. And that sort of brings me to the next question about how easy it is to become an ADE. So for me, I was lucky, first go, but I know lots of people just try year after year without success. What was the experience like there for you?
I can't say there's any consistency in terms of here are the 10 golden rules and you'll definitely get in. Over the course of the ADE program since I've been on the panel of people that
Me too, Kim.
who have looked through new applicants aspiring to join the program. And I would have to say there's not 1 or 3 or 10 things that I could say, nail this and you're in. So which makes it hard, I think.
I think that's actually Apple's way anyway. So they don't really restrict what they're asking of you. So it's really your chance to be creative and show them what you've got, basically. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, excellent. So what does it mean to you to be an ADE and for your career? Who wants to kick us off?
Well, it's a bit of an honour. It's a huge honour to be an ADE.
Yeah.
I live in Mildura right now, so it's a huge game changer for me in terms of professional development. So I live in Mildura. I have just no one around to talk to about anything at all, really. It's just me and lots of dust. So it's a great opportunity to meet other amazing educators and also to get great PD. And it's a huge amount of fun. It is a huge amount of fun hanging out with the nicest people you ever meet. It's really an honour and a lot of fun.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, I think even like going on from you, Steph, like the connections that you actually build, like both professionally and personally, I think, that's been a huge thing for me and has also built my confidence as well. It wasn't an easy thing for me to go overseas and by myself, but I think now it's become a lot easier and it's kind of like a family. Well, that's what I find anyway whenever I go back. And in regards to my career, it definitely helps on a professional statement, doesn't it? A personal statement for jobs and so forth. And a lot of people ask, what is an ADE? They actually ask that. So, but I think again, it's the connections around the world that the ideas that you get as well, and those connections. Like I wouldn't have been talking to Paul Hamilton, and asking him, how on earth did you do that, Paul? I hadn't have gone through this process, I don't think. So
I've been blown away by the talent, but in equal proportions, the generosity of these amazing creative people. Like at no point has someone ever said, that's my idea, go find your own, or it was hard, so you need to go and work it out yourself. Like the generosity has blown me away. And there's never really a click. Like if you want to walk up to someone with way more awards than yourself, they're more than happy to say hi and how can I help?
Yeah.
Or on the other side of the world and you've got a problem, you post it on the ADE community and you've got 7 new ways of thinking about that problem within an hour. It's just amazing.
You're right. It really does open those doors. And I think like going back and talking about people not knowing what the ADE program is, and when you talk a bit about it with them, I don't think people realise that to get there, there's a lot of work involved and you really have to prove yourself first before you can even, submit something to be accepted, which is, as far as your career goes, really speaks a lot for your work ethic, I think, and what you can achieve in a classroom with a bunch of children. So what do you think would be the biggest thing you've learnt from being an ADE?
It's a big one. So many things.
Yeah.
Honouring the aha moments, really celebrating the aha moments. It's okay to make mistakes, but also so many things. I don't know. I learned how to compose music this year because of ADEs, and I'm a horrible singer and musician.
Well, that's true. And actually, I learnt how to use GarageBand for podcasts, which is what I'll be using to edit this after we're finished, which is pretty cool. So that's one thing for me.
I think one thing I've learned is to keep pushing boundaries. So within our own schools, sometimes we're the only person who's trying to do this one thing or trying to support this one child with this crazy harebrained idea you've got. And sometimes you get a lot of no's within the community you live on a daily basis and work. So I think the ADE community gives you that confidence to push those boundaries, to try again, to try something else, to not accept the mediocre this will do way of learning and teaching. That's what I've got out of it. I always think I can try this again. Look, I'm going to do this a different way and try again. And I'm going to try again. So it's
very invigorating, isn't it? Very invigorating coming away from an institute.
Yeah, if you
it's like a whole week of yes and, not no but.
Yeah, and sometimes when you feel a little bit tired and you get in that little bit of a lull, you know, if you do go to those conferences, it does, that reinvigorates your passion and everything like that. So, I mean, I can't just say one thing for me. Like the last conference was just amazing in regards to augmented reality and, you know, the keynotes, the new updates of the keynote. I just thought was absolutely fantastic. And, you know, I was able to then take that back to my kids and to see them, that they feed off my enthusiasm. And I'm pretty enthusiastic in the classroom, if you wouldn't tell. They were just like ping pong balls. They were just loving it and feeding off my energy. So
yeah, I think the biggest thing, and I know a lot of people hashtag it on Twitter and on other social media, is just that everyone can create stuff, and how that's really shifted my thinking about, you know, creativeness. And, you know, I was always one to say, oh, I'm not very creative. I can't really do this. I can't do that. But using the tools and just playing around with things, it's actually amazing how creative you can be, and how that translates into everything in the classroom. There's so many things I've taken back and my students have used, and, you know, things that, you know, 5 years ago when I started teaching, I never would have thought that I'd be doing in the classroom. So, and, you know, you put all that under one banner, whether it's, you know, making some music in GarageBand or drawing fun pictures or taking photos, and, you know, it's just so much creativeness, and I think that's the biggest thing for me. Obviously, the events that they have every year are a big thing, and for me, 2019 becoming an ADE was like a massive highlight for me. Apart from that one, what would be one of your biggest highlights after becoming an ADE?
Well, getting to travel and meet amazing people. Going to Austin was just mind-blowing. It's one of my favourite places on the planet now.
Yeah, the worldwide events just take it to a different level, don't they?
Yeah. You think you were blown away by last year. You just wait.
So a lot of people think that you need to be an Apple fan to become an Apple Distinguished Educator, and I disagree with that, but I would love to know what you think.
We always say it's not a cult, but it's not a big cult. Not a cult. I don't know. No, you don't have to love Apple to do, but it is kind of funny when everyone puts their hands up. We've all got Apple Watches on. We all love the Apple technology because it's awesome. Not because we have to, because it's great. It's great stuff.
It really is.
I think I love the Apple products because of the opportunity and enables the teaching and learning, the kids that I work with in the special needs accessibility space. So I love Apple because of what they can help and provide opportunities for the kids I work with. So yeah, I love Apple, but it's not because I like the shiny brand new devices that come in white boxes. It's the wow moments that they provide for the kids.
Yeah. I didn't even have an iPhone until just before ADE 2019. So, I mean, but the fact that I'm using Apple devices all the time sort of helped me, I suppose.
I like that though, because even at institutes, nobody's saying, oh my goodness, she's got a Series 3 watch. Mine's a 5. Like nobody does that. If you've got nobody cares. If you've got something that's running the latest operating system, is working for you, there's no hashtag, oh my God, did you see the MacBook? Like, there's none of that.
No, they're not a judgmental bunch of people, are they?
Finest people in the whole world.
So the next intake for new ADEs is 2021. So what would be your advice for any teacher out there if they want to achieve that? And I might start with you, Kim, for this one.
I would say to find your story, how you can best share what you're doing as a leader in your use of the technologies, how you advise people, how you share what you're doing. Just find one story. And then I would recommend taking a billion photos throughout the next year. So 2020 is your year to always have your phone out taking a photo, because you're not sure what your end video application might have in it. But if you've got 100 photos to choose from, it's a whole lot easier to make your application video than, oh, I've got these 10 blurry photos. I should have thought about that. And now it's October. So my one tip would be to be capturing the evidence and thinking about just one story you can share. Don't try and overload your application with, I've done 55 amazing things and I need to tell you all about them and I'm talking this fast because I've only got a minute. One or two awesome things.
Yeah.
And take it.
Yeah.
I'd second that advice. What about you, Sally?
Yeah, I mean, as Kim said, it's Apple always, they highlight it as being your story. So that goes back to what Kim just highlighted. But I think the big thing is being organised as much as you can for when that time comes where you have to create a video or do your write-up and so on, with videos, pictures, whatever.
Because a little sneaky tip, they normally ask you in January. So you're normally in holiday mode. So it's harder to think when you're in holiday mode.
Well, especially in Australia, yes.
Yeah.
So sometimes those photos can just trigger your memory, even because you're going to forget what you did.
Yeah, and also I suppose, also is, connecting with other ADEs in your state if you can, just to tap into them as well. And also completing your Apple Teacher badges online as well.
Yeah, of course.
We also look for that as,
Yeah, and obviously that's the real starting point there, isn't it? Doing those Apple Teacher badges, which is pretty easy. You can just Google Apple Teacher for that. What about you, Steph? Have you got anything to add?
Take some risks in the classroom. Have a go at something you wouldn't normally have a go at. Think outside the square. Get on Twitter. Check out the Apple Edu hashtag. Everyone can create hashtag. Follow some cool ADEs like Kathy Hunt and Paul Hamilton.
Yeah.
And be inspired, but do your own thing too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, some really good advice. So they only do intakes every 2 years, I believe. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah. So thinking, we've already talked a little bit about it. Once you get accepted, what next? And what is next after you've done your video and you've got that amazing email that says, congratulations, you're an Apple Distinguished Educator. What happens?
Oh, mate, then it's the actual anxiety with waiting for that email to come back to tell you whether you've been successful or not. I think all of us are, we've got a group chat between some SA ADEs, and as soon as that first email goes, they're like, has everyone got theirs yet? Who's in? It's quite anxious. And, even Kim and I were talking tonight. We were wondering when it's actually going to be known to everyone. But I would say, and the advice would be to reply to any email as soon as you can, so that they can get the information, also your accommodation as well. I mean, I prefer to just be by my lonely self in the room.
Actually, normally Jags the most amazing rooms too. Party at the sales house.
Yeah, so if you feel more comfortable just being in a room by yourself, you have that option, but also you can room with someone as well, and lots of people like that too. But I just think, there's nothing worse than keeping things to the last minute. So, you've got to be pretty onto it. As soon as they send an email, I'm pretty much sending it straight away.
Yeah. And like Sally just said, you can be involved as much or as little as you like. So if you want a room on your own and you want to just attend the sessions and go back to your room, you can. But I would recommend for your first institute, just hold on, say yes and to everything you can. And you'll have a blast and make some awesome friends.
Kim, I think you said that to me actually when I was there, because, going to a place where you don't know anybody at all and there's, maybe a little bit of social anxiety. How do I walk up to these people? And I think it was you that told me that everyone here is pretty much the same. So it's a bunch of nerds all meeting together and we all have one thing in common. So it's not hard to go up to people there. That's what I found. So is there anything else that you wanted to add about the Apple Distinguished Educator program or the experience that you think the listeners to this show will find valuable?
I think I need to say you deserve to be there, because one of the things I most struggled with when I walked into that room the first time, I was overwhelmed with, how the hell have I gotten in here? Somehow they've stuffed up and they've let me in and I should totally not be here.
I felt exactly the same.
Me too.
So the first thing I would say to someone who's got that email is, congratulations, you deserve to be there.
Yep, totally. Really good advice. All right.
I forgot to tell you.
Yeah.
That about the showcases. That, the showcases that are within the conference are probably the most. How would you explain it, Steph? Like, you actually gave a showcase.
So scary. Oh my gosh.
It's just so, I just love it. And it's, 3 minutes or something?
Yeah, so you have 3 minutes to tell your story to everyone. It's a long process. So I started, months out before the Institute, practicing with another ADE, having phone conferences and practicing. And then at the actual Institute, I had lots of practicing then too, to share your story in only 3 minutes exactly.
So it's kind of like a TED talk on steroids, because you've only got 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's so, I always cry when I hear people's stories. It's so inspiring to hear someone.
If you're an ADE at the first year, you don't have to do that. I'm just saying that it's a really good experience to see people talk about, their experiences, I guess.
Yeah, it definitely sparks ideas for you. It's awesome.
Yeah. So we'll see you up there soon, Sal?
Me?
Yeah. No, the other Sally in the room. No.
Goodness. I don't know.
Yeah. For our listeners out there, all of our guests have some great free books for educators available on the Apple Bookstore. In fact, I think you wrote one together, the three of you. Am I right?
Yes.
Was that on the 360 camera?
Yep.
Done my research. So make sure you go and check them out. I'll put a link in the description. And if you want to connect with them on Twitter, you can find Steph at Steph Kree. That is STEPHKRIE. Kim is at Kim Nitram, which is Kim Martin, with Martin spelled backwards. And Sally at Sally Lowe 17. What's that?
It's because Kim Martin is such a boring name. There are so many in the world, I couldn't have it. So I had to think creatively.
Well, good thinking. Good thinking.
Everyone can create cool Twitter hashtags.
That's it.
Sally Ewald.
I don't know if that has the same ring to it. So as always, if you have any questions or feedback about today's episode, you can email me at dan@ponderingdan.com and I can forward them on to Sally, Steph and Kim. But thank you all so much for joining me this week. And hopefully we've given our listeners some useful information if they too are considering becoming an Apple Distinguished Educator.
Thank you. And we'll see you all at the next Institute, I'm sure.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah.
Thank you.
Good luck.
You, Dan, for the opportunity as well.
Thanks, Dan.
All right. Thanks, everyone. So another big thank you to my guests for being part of the show today. And if you have any questions for myself or for Kim, Steph or Sally, you can email them to me at dan@ponderingdan.com. And to help my podcast grow, remember to leave a review, like it, and share it with your networks. I would greatly appreciate it. So until next time, I'm Danny. Bye.